Hey YouTube, my name's Ivan Albrook, and today I'm coming at you with a League Cup tournament report for the Pokemon TCG. This past weekend, I went to Paradox TCG in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, and I won their Q3 League Cup with Lugia VSTAR. That's my first League Cup win of the season and my second League Cup win of all time, actually. Um, there were 36 Masters players, and going into it, I was deciding whether or not to play Lugia or Dragapult because it was the first tournament in the new Prismatic Evolutions format. So I wanted to choose a deck that was good into a lot of things and had a good spread of matchups. So I ultimately chose Lugia V-Star because I think it's consistent and it's very powerful when it sets up. A lot of decks can struggle when Lugia sets up. So I made a good call because I ended up winning the tournament. And I'm going to share the deck list with you and go through all my matchups one by one. This is a great list I got from Cyrus Davis TCG. Please check them out on all their socials. They stream on Twitch, YouTube, all that kind of stuff. Make sure to check them out. Okay. Let's start off with the list here. So we obviously have the 3-3 Lugia line. That's pretty standard nowadays. And then you have the 4 Archeops. That's these three right here. These 3 cards right here is your main engine of the deck. Yeah, I felt like out of all the Pokemon this tournament, I attacked with Lugia the most, actually. Lugia was pretty good, you know. Luminion, I play 2 of them. It's really important to get your researches, bosses, turn to. If you are forced to go second as Lugia, to get a Jacq out, and if you have an Ultra Ball in hand, you search out 2 Archeops, Ultra Ball them away, get a Lugia out, and then you're chilling pretty much. Weird Deer V, very good. Used it a bunch of times. Very good attacker. Drapion V, I will get to in a minute. That was a spicy card of the deck. Iron Hands, obviously a very good attacker into the lower HP decks. Being able to take multiple prize cards off of those smaller Pokemon is very advantageous. Regigigas, Regigigas did come up once into Dragapult. Other than that, it didn't really matter. Wellspring Ogerpon was the MVP this weekend, along with Drapion. I'll get to Drapion in a minute. Blood Moon Ursaluna, obviously great for finishing games, and then Squawkabilly to fix your bad opening hands. So pretty standard Lugia lineup. And yeah, so the trainers, pretty obvious. 4 research, 4 boss. This is kind of just based off of Kieran Farrow's list. Obviously, like 4 boss and 4 research is pretty much the norm nowadays. 2 Iono, just to hand disrupt. Then you have your Thornton, and Thornton was a really good card in testing, but it never really came up in the tournament. Unfortunately, there was no good opportunity to use it, but it was there, just in case I needed it, and I threatened a Thornton play in one of the games. Jacq, obviously, to search out your Archeops to Ultra Ball them away. You got 4 Ultra Ball, 4 Aromas, 2 Nest Ball, triple Mesagoza. It's really important for bumping Temple of Sinnoh. If you go against Drago or Dragapult, they usually play a Sinnoh. It's good to bump the stadiums, and you get some free Pokemon off of coin flips. So it's pretty nice. And then for the energies, 4 Gift, 4 Durable Turbo, 4 Jet, 3 Mist, and then 1 Legacy. No V-Guard in this list. It's not really. I don't really think you need it. V-Guard was mainly used for Regidrago, but Regidrago's play has gone down percentage-wise just because of how strong Badoo is, and Badoo, we'll get to that in a minute or so. I want to talk about Drapion, though. So Drapion is meant for the Gardevoir matchup. The top 3 decks right now, people are saying Lugia, like Guardy at the top, Dragapult, Lugia. Those are the big 3, and Drapion just helps you deal with Gardevoir, being able to boss and one-shot it, putting them in a weird spot is very good because you can go Iron Hand into Drapion if you want, or you can go Iron Hands or whatever. You know, there's a whole bunch of different lines. Drapion just is another great attacker that can one-shot the Gardevoir when you need to. And Drapion came up a lot. So as we go through the matchups, I'll explain it. Regigigas did not come up as much. That's one card I wish I could have used a little more. I only played against 2 Dragapult players. And I'll go through that in a minute. But Regigigas was probably the attacker I used the least out of all of these. Everyone else had their own part, other than Squawk, I guess. Squawk didn't really do anything. He's not really an attacker. So, yeah, so this is the list, and we're going to go through the matchups real quick. There were 36 Masters, so 6 rounds of Swiss, top 8 cut. Round 1, I played against Regidrago. I had a great start, he didn't. And unfortunately, when he got his Drago set up, it was turn 3. I had 2 prizes left. He had all 6. He only had Dragapult. I just showed him the boss, and he scooped. So that was a good way to start off the day. Beating Drago could be a little tricky, especially without the V-Guard energy. It's good to get over that. Round 2, I played against good friend Josh Strife. He makes awesome carpets and stuff like that. Carpets and rugs with Pokemon designs and all kinds of different things. Check him out at Strife Made on X and Instagram and all that jazz. Unfortunately, I think he had a slow start. I think he started Rotom Pass, and I got Lugia set up and whatnot, and I think I had the better start. He didn't, and I kind of just had control over the game from there. So 2-0 going into round 3. Round 3 we go against Charles, and Charles is a great player from the GTA area. He was playing Gardevoir. I go first, I get a Lugia, I attach, and then I believe he goes Badoo like 3 turns in a row, and I couldn't discard multiple Archeops until about like my 3rd or 4th turn. So it was an interesting game. He ended up taking it in the end with a double monkey onto a damaged Iron Hands and then onto an active Weird Ear, I believe. So he took that one from me. So I was 2-1. Then I go up against a Heatran Basculegion Metang deck, which is not something I would have expected to see. But it was a cool little deck. Heatran, it does 50 damage times every metal energy you discard, I believe. I'm not too sure. He didn't really get set up. I went first, got a Lugia and 2 chops in the discard pile turn 1, and then he put Heatran down with 2 Beldums and he passed. And then I attacked with Lugia to knock out his Heatran. He played Hyper Aroma to get 2 Metangs, and he whiffed. And then I just used Wellspring to finish the game off there. So unfortunate for him. It was pretty cool deck. I've seen it before online and stuff like that. Pretty interesting. Going into round 5, I was 3-1, so I needed to win 1 more and then just ID, and then I would have been in cut. Round 5, I hit my good old pal, Nate Joseph. Shout out to him. He won Sonny's League online tournament last night with this exact list, went 7-0. Shout out to him. And shout out his YouTube channel, Nate Collects TCG. Him and I were pretty much on the same 60-1 card. He had a V-Guard, I didn't. That was basically the difference. He went first. He got, I think, double chops in the discard pile. Basically just, back and forth. He took a pretty good lead on me, and then, I stuck him with an Iono and slowed him down for a turn. But the biggest thing was he prized his legacy energy, so he couldn't amp you very much onto one of my Lugias or my Luminions. And that way I just, was able to win the game. Sucks that it was friendly fire. He bubbled ninth place. He went 4-2 eventually, but he bubbled ninth place, which sucks. I would have loved to see him in cut with me, but it is what it is. And then round 6, I was gonna play against Hunter on Gardevoir, but we just ID'd. And going into cut, I was a 7th seed at 4 wins, 1 loss, and 1 tie. And in top 8, I play against Sunny. His name is Sunny, and really nice guy. It was his first time making top cut at a League Cup. So I had to tell him it was best 2 out of 3 and stuff like that. I played against him before a couple times. Really good player, and he's very nice. And I think the first game I kind of just took complete control of. He had a slow start, couldn't get Evo off. And I'm pretty sure I just well-springed a couple times to take a big lead. And then game 2, kind of the same thing, just took a big lead against him. And I was able to win the top 8 match 2-0. So Wellspring really put in work against these Guardy players. Top 4, I played against a Dragapult Charizard EX deck. Not something I would have expected to see, personally. I would have expected to see, like, Pult Dusknoir or whatever. There's one Pult Dusknoir, which I played in round 2 against Josh. And then there were a couple Pult Thorns, which I'm very happy to have not hit, because that's a sketchy matchup for Lugia. This was a very difficult match for me, and it's because he played Hero's Cape as his ace spec, and he threw it on a Charizard. So I was thinking, okay, I can't attack into Regigigas with this. It's not going to one-shot it. So I just attacked into it with a Lugia a couple times. Unfortunately, he won the first game by going, I think, Alakazam, move a couple damage, and then boss, I'm pretty sure. Can't remember exactly. Game 2, I think I just had a better start than him. Took a couple early knocks with Lugia. And then he retaliated back, and this game went on a while. Like, we were pretty close to time when it finished. But I went Ursaluna Boss, the Pheasantipity, for the win, with 2 minutes left in time. So game 3 started. I set up Lugia, ditched a couple Archeops. Or no, I ditched one Archeops and I passed. He goes and he gets Dreepy and... Or no, he played Lance. I'm sorry. He got 3 Dreepies on the board. He had a Dreepy in the active, and I think he went Attach Pass. And then my turn went into time, so I was turn 0. I had a really big decision to make on whether or not I should gamble for a second Archeops, but based on the fact that it was going to go off prizes and board state, I decided to just use Archeops, set up a Lugia, and start attacking, and that's exactly what I did. So I knocked out the Dreepy, and I took my first prize. Going on to his turn, turn 1. He wasn't able to set anything up, so he unfortunately went Lumineon for Iono. Iono'd me to 5. And then on my turn, I had Boss's Orders. I had decided to, set up a Weirdeer on the bench a little bit. And then I had Boss's Orders, his Lumineon, going into his turn, making it pretty much impossible for him to take 3 prizes, and he just scooped. Unfortunate for him, but, that's how it goes sometimes. So, going into finals, I played 2 Guardies. One of them was Charles, and Charles made it to the finals. So I had to get my revenge on him, and I did. So game 1 was pretty close. I set up a board where basically he needed to take 2 prize cards, but I killed both of his Drifloon and his Screamtail with Bravery Charms. So he had no Bravery Charm attackers and only 1 Monkey Dory set up. And I'm at 2 prize cards. I had a Lugia in the active, Lugia on the bench. I had a Squawkabilly with a Legacy Energy on it, and then I had a Blood Moon Ursaluna on the bench. And then I had my 2 Archeops. So he ended up scooping just because there was no way for him to win. And then game 2, I went Lugia, attach pass, and he started Badoo and I think a Monkey Dory, and then he item locked me. I couldn't get Wellspring because I believe it was prized, so I ended up just taking a knockout on the Badoo. Then he promotes Monkey Dory, top decks, Poffin, I believe. And he's able to set up from there. I take a couple prize cards, up until the point where I get down to 3 prize cards. And at one point he attacked with a Guardy, and he couldn't get a Dark Energy on his Monkey Dory. So he retreated and he attacked with, I think, Drifloon to knock out Lugia, and he Ionoed me to 2 cards, which is a Research and an Energy. And then I top decked Nest Ball, played the Nest Ball, and at that point I had Wellspring, so I put Nest Ball down, got Wellspring, Legacy, and Double Turbo, promoted it, and then I sniped the Drifloon along with the Guardy to take my last 3 prize cards to win the League Cup. So Lugia was really good this weekend. I think it was a great pick. It's very strong, and I highly recommend testing with it if you're going to EUIC or any upcoming regional. It's very strong. It doesn't have a ton of bad matchups. We might see more Miraidon, but I think Dragapult and Guardy can kind of level the Miraidon out. If you hit a Miraidon as Lugia, you hit a Miraidon. Could also see some Iron Thorns come into play. I'm not too sure, but that's my League Cup run. If you guys enjoy videos like this, like tournament reports and such, let me know in the comments. I'm a big fan of tournament reports myself. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.